is the #1 first quarter scorer in the league. So he misses here on that three-point attempt, but gets it back after Ayton got the offensive rebound. Reeves knocks down that one.
The Los Angeles Lakers just beat the New York Knicks. Their defense was locked in. Players were rotating, communicating, and moving with real energy. Everyone looked engaged on both ends of the floor. And one player in particular looked like a completely different version of himself, Austin Reeves. But here's the part that's getting people talking. LeBron James wasn't on the court for any of it. And some fans are starting to wonder, is that just a coincidence? Or is it actually becoming a pattern? So be honest. Do you think the Lakers are better right now without LeBron on the floor? Or was this simply one good performance against a strong team?
Shot clock to 10. Doncic has the ball in his hands now. Finds Kennard. Drives baseline. It's Hachimura. Now Doncic. Long three. It's gone.
The Lakers just defeated the Knicks, a team that recently dropped 142 points on the Denver Nuggets. This isn't a weak offensive team. The Knicks have been one of the most productive scoring teams in the league this season. Yet the Lakers held them under 100 points. From the opening tip, the defense looked completely different. There was communication. There was switching. There was effort on every possession. Players were rotating, blocking shots, taking charges, and doing the small things that winning teams consistently do. And again, LeBron James wasn't playing.
Lakers furious, they thought he was fouled. Excuse me, and it's now overtime. LeBron James so upset. Regulation is over, we go to the 5-minute OT.
Before people jump in saying this is just LeBron hate, let's clarify something. This isn't about disrespecting one of the greatest careers in NBA history. LeBron James has already built a legacy that speaks for itself. But this discussion isn't about the past. It's about right now, the current season, the current roster, and the current results on the court. And when you combine what the numbers show with what the eye test shows, the picture starts becoming very clear.
Doncic, defended by Bridges, who doesn't have a basket, trying to keep Doncic from getting one. He shoots over two Knicks, and it's good from 15 feet.
The Lakers are 9-2 in games where the offense is primarily run by Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves without LeBron controlling the offense. 9 wins. 2 losses. That's not a tiny sample anymore. That's the beginning of a real pattern.
Reeves up the court with the Lakers back in front by 9. Goes away from the screen and buries a three. Got rid of Josh Hart and drilled the long ball.
And it's not just the wins. It's how the team plays in those games. The defense looks sharper. The ball movement looks faster. And the energy across the entire roster feels different. Compared to games where LeBron dominates the offense, the team seems more connected on both ends of the floor. Take the defensive effort in the Knicks game as an example. Jared Vanderbilt was flying around the court, rotating on defense and blocking shots. Marcus Smart had a terrible shooting night, just 1 for 10 from the field. But he still finished with a team-high plus 23. Why? Because his impact wasn't about scoring. He was pressuring ball handlers, taking charges, communicating on switches, and doing all the gritty defensive work that doesn't always show up in the box score. Jackson Hayes got a big strip steal. Luka Doncic even stepped in to take a charge. Multiple players were sacrificing their bodies and making hustle plays. The entire defensive unit looked locked in. And it made you wonder something. How can this be the same team that has looked so disconnected defensively in other games this season?
The Lakers today won without LeBron. The Lakers have been losing a lot lately, and LeBron injured his elbow, so he has been out. But today, they versed the New York Knicks. Now, Luka Doncic had 35 points, Austin Reeves had 25 points, and the Lakers beat the Knicks 110-97. What do you think of this? The Lakers are only 1 game back from the 3rd seed. Can they make some noise in the playoffs?
The uncomfortable answer might be tied to who's on the floor. When LeBron plays, the team's defensive energy often drops. Not necessarily because other players suddenly become worse defenders, but because the tone of the game changes. If a star consistently prioritizes offense, stays back for transition opportunities, or focuses on rebounds instead of defensive contests, that mindset can spread throughout the team. But when LeBron isn't on the floor, that dynamic disappears. Players get back in transition. Everyone commits to defensive rotations. No one is waiting near half court for a fast break opportunity. The entire team shifts into a different defensive gear. And the result? The Lakers holding one of the league's top offenses, the New York Knicks, to under 100 points. That doesn't happen by accident. When you also look at the on-off numbers, the trend becomes even more interesting. In several stretches this season, the Lakers have statistically performed better when LeBron James is off the floor. That's not just a narrative, it's data that keeps appearing in the numbers. Which leads to the big question fans are now debating. Are the Lakers actually functioning better as a team without LeBron on the court right now?
Those of you that mocked me a month ago when I told you that the Lakers are a better basketball team without LeBron James, what do you say now? Those of you that mocked me a month ago when I came out and I told you that LeBron James is at best the third option for this team offensively, behind Luka Doncic at number 1 and Austin Reeves at number 2, you mocked me. But now here we are, almost a month into the season. The Lakers are 7-2, playing really good team basketball, and LeBron James has yet to play a minute. If LeBron comes back into the mix, he screws it all up. The Lakers have now figured out what a lot of you don't want to admit, but when you look in the mirror, when your wife tucks you into bed at night and gives you a kiss, mwah, and says, don't let the bed bugs bite, you have to know in your heart of hearts that the Lakers are a better basketball team without LeBron James.
Part of the reason this situation keeps showing up on the court is something that might sound harsh, but becomes hard to ignore if you actually watch the games closely. Right now, it often looks like LeBron James' primary objective on the floor is his individual statistics. Not the defensive system. Not the overall score. Not helping younger teammates find rhythm. Too often, it looks like the focus is simply the numbers. There are possessions where the offense clearly should flow in a different direction, yet the ball still ends up in LeBron's hands. There are games where he remains on the floor during blowouts while chasing records or triple-double numbers. He even leads the league in fast break points, but the way those points often happen raises questions. Instead of immediately getting back on defense, he'll sometimes stay near the opposite end of the floor, waiting for an outlet pass and an easy transition layup. That isn't necessarily a superstar elevating his team. That looks more like a veteran player optimizing his own stats. And the bigger problem is what happens to the rest of the roster because of it. When one player begins operating outside the team structure, every other player has to compensate. Luka Doncic ends up taking tougher shots because the ball movement stalls and there's less off-ball movement to create clean looks. Austin Reeves ends up working harder defensively and taking on tougher assignments because he isn't always getting help from another strong defender, the type of defensive presence someone like Jared Vanderbilt would normally provide. Rui Hachimura gets fewer catch-and-shoot opportunities because spacing changes and rotations shift. The entire roster starts playing slightly outside their natural roles. That's the real issue. It's not just about one player's individual impact. It's about how that presence reshapes the entire system, often making several other players less effective at the same time. Remove that variable, and suddenly everything begins to fall back into place. Doncic starts getting cleaner looks. Reeves plays with more freedom and confidence. Role players settle into their natural rhythms. And the defense becomes far more organized. That brings us to the conversation around Luka Doncic. He's been criticized for complaining to referees and for his defensive limitations. Some of that criticism is fair, no one is claiming Doncic as an elite defender. But the media narrative often exaggerates the issue. He's not giving up 40 points every night. He's not the worst defender in the league. And his offensive production is so explosive and consistent that the trade-off is more than worth it. More importantly, you can build a winning system around Luka because he creates opportunities for everyone else. The offense flows through him in a way that generates movement, spacing, and playmaking. Right now, the same cannot consistently be said when the offense runs through LeBron. His box score numbers still look impressive, largely because he continues to control the ball so often. But raw numbers aren't everything. Efficiency matters. Impact matters. And when you compare how the team performs with him on the floor versus when he's off the floor, the results start to look uncomfortable. In many ways, Marcus Smart's performance against the New York Knicks perfectly illustrates the difference. He shot 1-4-10 from the field. An awful shooting night. Yet he finished with a team-high plus 23. Why? Because he was completely locked in defensively, communicating, rotating, drawing charges, and lifting the entire defensive energy of the team. That's what team-first veteran basketball looks like. Smart understands that his value isn't just about his personal stat line. It's about how the team functions when he's on the floor. At this stage of his career, LeBron hasn't fully transitioned into that type of role. He hasn't reduced his minutes. He hasn't embraced a smaller role or shorter bursts of leadership off the bench. He still wants to start. He still wants the ball. He still wants the star-level numbers. From the perspective of personal legacy, that might make sense. But from a pure team-building perspective, it may be hurting the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, this doesn't automatically mean the Lakers suddenly become championship contenders without LeBron. The roster still has real limitations and unanswered questions. But the current evidence suggests something important. The team's path forward may not involve LeBron playing heavy minutes while chasing statistical milestones. The numbers suggest it. The eye test suggests it. And the defensive performance against the Knicks said it louder than anything else. The Lakers held a Knicks team that had just dropped 142 points on the Denver Nuggets to under 100 points. Without LeBron, the defense was locked in. Everyone was engaged. And the entire team looked different. At this point, the pattern is hard to ignore. If this breakdown made you think differently about the situation, hit like and subscribe because this conversation is far from over.